Hey guys, Sarah here from Recovering Book Hoarder, and today we are going to do my July wrap-up. Guys, I had an excellent reading month this July. I read a grand total of 19 books, and those books equaled almost 7,000 pages. So there were very few small books. I actually read several chunkers this month. In regards to quality, it was also quite good. Even though I did have 2 1-star reads, 6 3-star, 7 4-star, and 4 5-stars. And one of those 5 stars is actually a 6-star and a new favorite, which I am so excited to tell you guys about. So every month I always do my wrap-ups different than the month before. So this month we are going to go through in order of star rating, starting with my least favorite books of the month and working our way up to my most favorite books of the month. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on the least favorite. I don't think. We'll see. All right. So my first 1-star read was The Unaccompanied by Simon Armitage. And this is a poetry collection. I just did not connect with the poetry at all. Very small. It was only 78 pages, but it felt like it took me forever to get through it because I didn't like it. My other 1-star read is a huge disappointment, and that is Ready Player 2 by Ernest Cline. Ready Player 1 is one of my all-time favorite books. This one, not so much. At first, I thought maybe it would be a 3-star read because I still enjoyed the trials that were within the book. However, that was not enough of a reason to get past the convenience of this book. Everything that happens to these characters and within this world is just so convenient. Like, there's no explanation for why things are so convenient. I know that they're all very good at video games, but every single time they play a video game for the very first time and things are really dependent upon that, they beat it. It's just ridiculous. The way money works in this system, everything. Overall, I did not like it at all. I will be getting rid of this book, which I'm so upset to say, but 1 star. All right, moving into my 3 stars, because there was no 2 stars this month. Okay, the first one I'm going to talk about is one that I listened to on audio through Scribd, and that is Lost Girls by Robert Kolker. And this is a true crime book about a serial killer who was targeting sex workers in Long Island. And the murders that have never been solved, but it was very good. It was, well, I shouldn't say, it was good. Not like the best true crime book I've ever read, but still, it was pretty gripping, went into a lot of detail. You really know and understand what was happening. And yeah, it was good. Okay, then another one that I listened to on audio through Audible was The Crown Official Companion #2. And this is a behind the scenes look at The Crown. This takes an in-depth look at seasons 2 and 3 and the true events that inspired the fictional tellings on The Crown. It was good. It was interesting. I think the reason it was 3 and not higher was season 3 was just not my favorite season of The Crown. And there was a lot that happened in season 3 that was just kind of boring. And so some of the behind scenes stuff from there, I just didn't care as much. There was still good information, but it was not as good as the one from season 1, which I'll be talking about here very shortly. All right, another 3-star, One Perfect Word by Debbie McComber, and this is a Christian. I would classify it under memoir. Debbie McComber, she chooses a word every year to be her theme for that year. And so in this book, she goes through several of the words that she has chosen each year. Each chapter is a different word and explains how that choice worked itself into her life throughout that year. And then also a prayer that she wrote regarding that word for the year as well, and really encourages people to do the same and have a theme word for each year. So it was good, not like groundbreaking or anything, but still, it was a good read. All right, then my booktube spin, book one from the booktube spin was The Ancestors by Danielle Trussoni. And this I would classify, I had a really hard time trying to classify this. I think I'm going to put it under horror, but it's light horror. Let's call it that. Light horror. And in this, we follow this woman who all of a sudden finds out that she is related to this family, the Montebianco family, and it is an ancient royal family, and she is the last one left in this family, and she had no idea she even belonged to them. So she inherits this castle and all these lands and all this stuff, so she goes over to see it, and there is this huge family secret that she discovers that will affect the rest of her life moving forward. And I don't want to give too much away, so we're going to leave it at that. But it is also quite fantastical. Let's put it that way. So it was a 3-star read. It was good. It wasn't bad. Ace of Spades by Farida Abike Ayamadi. And I had pretty mixed feelings on this. It was very good writing, and it's a gripping story. My issue was, this is one of those tropes where every white person is horrific. Like, white people in general, that you cannot trust them at all. They are absolutely out to get anybody that is black, and they're just truly, truly terrible people. All of them. Even ones you think you can trust, you can't. So I don't like that trope where every single white person is a villain just because they're white. So that was my problem with this. My other issue with this, it would have been a 4-star read if it hadn't been for the ending. The ending I felt was a very conveniently wrapped up, and I didn't quite buy it. So that's why it was 3 stars instead of 4 stars. It is, I mean, you could totally see this kind of thing happening still today. So it's about these two characters, and they are the only black students at their ultra private school, and they discover that there is this ancient, let's call it like an Illuminati type plot going on within their school. And I'm going to leave it at that because I really don't want to give too much away. So it is very good. Just like I said, that's the reason it was 3 stars, because of that trope and then because of the ending. Otherwise, it would have been a 4-star read. All right, then my last 3-star read of the month was The Landscape Savannah Green Gables by Catherine Reed. And this was not exactly what I thought it was going to be. I knew it would be about Prince Edward Island and like a lot of pictures from Prince Edward Island, from where the story Anne of Green Gables is set. What I didn't expect was there's also quite a bit of a biography in here about the author, Lucy Maud Montgomery, who wrote Anne of Green Gables. And it really talks about how Lucy Maud Montgomery's life parallels a lot of Anne's life, the character that she developed. And so you also see a lot of pictures that Lucy took during her childhood and her adult years of the areas of Anne of Green Gables, so you can kind of see what it looked like whenever she was young and writing it. And then a lot of current pictures also, which are quite beautiful. All right, moving into my 4-star reads of the month. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, The Crown Behind the Seasons, Season 1, was a 4-star read. And so that one was better to me than Season 2. And so again, exact same thing. The real life stories that inspired Season 1 of The Crown. If you like The Crown, you, I think, will really enjoy this behind the scenes look, so you can know what the truth is versus what the historical fictional creation is. Okay, then another book that I listened to on I think I listened to this one through Libby. No, I listened to this through Scribd. And that is I'll Be Gone in the Dark by Michelle McNamara. And this one is about the, she's actually the one that dubbed the serial killer the Golden State Killer. She's the one that gave him that name. And she was in the middle of doing research regarding the serial killer. It had become an obsession for her, trying to figure out who had committed these atrocious crimes. And he had not been caught at that point. So they were all unsolved when she was writing it. And unfortunately, before she could finish her research and her book, she died very unexpectedly of I think it was an unknown health condition that she had. So there was some researchers hired to take all of the information that she had gathered for the chapters that she had not completed writing yet, and for them to put together her notes and that information and to turn it into a book, which you would think would make the book not that great and that it would be really like disjointed and things like that. And it was not. This was an excellent book. And there's a introduction by Gillian Flynn, and then Michelle's husband, she was married to the comedian Patton Oswalt. He does like a wrap up towards the end and talks about what her life was like as she was researching it and how much this really meant to her. And then, you know, they did ultimately catch the Golden State Killer, and in no small part because she had brought so much attention back to these cold cases. So I do really recommend this, and it was very, very good on audio. So if you can, like I said, it's available on Scribd. So if you got a Scribd subscription, definitely give that one a check out. All right, then The Circus of Stolen Dreams by Lorelei Savarin. And this is a wonderful fantasy middle grade novel. If you enjoyed The Night Circus, I really think that you would like this as well. The descriptions are so vivid. You can truly picture everything that's happening. So it's a very atmospheric read. There is our main character, I want to say she's 12 or 13. Her brother had gone missing, and she blames herself for his having gone missing. He's been missing for 3 years. And one night she's walking through the woods, and this carnival just pops up, and she is offered a ticket to this carnival, and in return all she has to do is provide them with a memory she would like to forget or a dream. And then these tents are created based on those memories and dreams. And she loves this place. And then she quickly finds out it is not exactly what meets the eye. Very, very, very fun. I liked this one a lot. And this was recommended by Amy Bowen over at Amy Bowen and her channel. So definitely check her out. I will link her review of this book down below because it's the best review. I bought it immediately because of her. Okay, then we had People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry, and this was the group read over on Books and Jams, Krista, her Patreon page. And I really enjoyed Beach Read. It was also a four-star read for me. I went into this kind of nervous because I had heard not the best reviews. I had heard I had heard like mixed reviews. And what I can say is that it is predictable but enjoyable. I really enjoy Emily Henry's writing, and I find her very amusing. Like, a lot of her descriptions, they do make me laugh out loud, and there was definitely things in this book that I found really humorous and just enjoyed reading. It was fun. It was kind of a fun trip. So it ended up being 4 stars. It's a great beach read, poolside read, anything like that. And it goes pretty quick. All right, and then for April's over at Getting Hoga With It, for her Patreon group read this time is Survive the Night by Riley Sager. And I am a big fan of Riley Sager. This was not my favorite by Riley Sager, but I did still really enjoy it. I think the end, it was a questionable ending. not my favorite ending. Let's put it this way, that way. And so in here we have a girl who is in college who her best friend and roommate is murdered by a serial killer. She, again, this is another one where she blames herself for what happens, and she's having a really hard time living with herself. And so she decides she's going to like bail, and she's trying to find a ride home. This takes place in the early 90s. And so she's at a bulletin board, like trying to find a ride. And this person approaches her and asks if she would like to catch a ride with him, because he's kind of going through the same area. And lo and behold, as she is riding with him, she begins to suspect that he may be the serial killer and her life is in danger. So what happens is what we find out. And I like Riley Sager. His books go super fast. And my complaint about Riley Sager is I don't think he doesn't write women the best. Like, there's a lot of questionable decisions he makes for his women characters in regards to like how they think and things that happen that I'm just like, yeah, as a woman, that's not how that would happen. But that's my only complaint from him. I think he's fun. So again, that was a 4-star. All right, then I read Cold Case Christianity by J. Warner Wallace. And this is a book of apologetics written by a homicide detective who specializes in cold cases. And he wants to he's an atheist. He was an atheist whenever he set out to do this investigation. He wanted to see if the Gospels would hold up if they were examined in the same way that you would examine a cold case. And lo and behold, they do. So he goes through each of the ways that he needs to look and approach the Gospels in order to see if they hold up under the scrutiny. And in the end, he does become a Christian. I really do recommend this. I thought that this was a lot of fun. I really love true crime, and apologetics is like one of my areas of great interest. So this kind of like mixed two of my favorite things, and I loved it. I loved it. Still, four stars. It's so hard because for something to be 5 stars, I would say for something to be 5 stars, I need to like be unable to put it down and just see like really nothing wrong with it at all. And so if it's 4 stars, there's just usually like something small, but it's a lot of times they're pretty close to being 5-star. But in any case, okay. Last 4-star, and that is this gigantic tome, Harry Potter Page to Screen, The Complete Filmmaking Journey Updated Edition. This is gigantic. It weighs at least 10 pounds, I swear. And this one, it was fun. Keep holding up. Work on my arm muscles. Very picture heavy, which I like. So it's broken out into several parts. The first part goes through each of the movies and talks about how they got made, behind the scenes kind of stuff. Then there is a part for characters, locations, creatures, and artifacts. And ultimately, it's the pictures that made it a 4-star. There were a couple things in here that I learned like new to me. But ultimately, what this book has made me realize is that I've done so much behind the scenes kind of reading and watching and stuff like that, that I don't think there's anything left for me to learn and find out about the making of Harry Potter. So I don't think I'm going to be reading any more behind the scenes stuff. The only thing I would still really like to do at some point, bucket list, is the Warner Brothers set tour in London, but yeah, not planning on going to London anytime soon, so who knows if that'll ever get to happen. But that's the one thing left I would still like to do. Okay, last, my 5-star reads. I read The Natty Professor by Tim Gunn, and this was a reread for me. I just love and adore Tim Gunn. I want him to be my best friend because I adore his personality, and it's his soul. I just love him. And so this is a master class on mentoring, motivating, and making it work. And he really goes through what it takes to be a really, really good teacher and things that not so great teachers do. And read it many, many years ago, and it does still hold up. Reading a Tim Gunn book is like listening to him. And this time, I want to say, I did listen to it this time. Last time I read it physically, this time I listened to it on audio, and so obviously I could hear his voice the whole time it was being read, but even before that, when I read it the first time, you can so clearly hear Tim's voice the whole time you're reading it. All right, then I read East of Eden by John Steinbeck. This was my first Steinbeck, and I don't think it will be my last because I really enjoyed his writing style. If you like The Thornbirds or Gone with the Wind, I do believe that you would like East of Eden. This is an epic. It's an epic. It's 778 pages. It's pretty huge. I actually read it fairly quickly, though. It, of course, I mean, it's written in looks like it was written in 1952, published in 1952. And I think it was written after he wrote The Grapes of Wrath. So, of course, there is some racially problematic things in here, for sure. So just be aware of that. But not to the same level as Gone with the Wind. It's not as bad as Gone with the Wind. I would say, probably not even at the same level as To Kill a Mockingbird. There are some problematic statements and things like that, but not to the same level as those two. So it's a product of its time. All right, then I read The Lake House by Kate Morton, and I adore Kate Morton. This was my last one that I had to read of hers. I've now read her entire catalog, which is, I think, 6. I believe she has out 6 books. This is not her most current one. Her most current one is The Clockmaker's Daughter, but I had already read that one. I think this might be my favorite of hers, which is saying something, because all the other ones have been 5 stars too, with the exception of Clockmaker's Daughter. I think that one was 4-star. It's either 3 or 4, I can't remember. But so atmospheric. There is a house and grounds that are alive in here and are just as much a part of the story as the characters are. I adored all of the characters in here. It is a mystery. It stole timelines, and how she weaves together a mystery and the reveals. She is a master, and I really can't recommend that one enough. Then my final, this is my 6-star read and a new favorite, and this was a super surprise to me because reading the description of this, I never expected this to be, I thought I'd like it, but I never expected to absolutely love and fall in love with this book and want to read all the rest of them. So I did a book exchange with Chrissy over at Chrissy Soul. I'll link her YouTube down in the description, but she can be found at Chrissy Soul on Instagram as well, and she's more active on Instagram than she is on BookTube. So she sent me 3 of her favorites. I sent her 3 of my favorites. I read the first one last month. That was Covenant with the Vampire. I can't remember who it was by. And then this month I read His Majesty's Dragon by Naomi Novik, and this is the Temeraire Book 1. So the series is called Temeraire. There's, I think, 8 books in this series. I need to read them all. This is an adult fantasy, and it's very steadily grounded in the real world. The fantastical part is that in our world, way back when, because this takes place when England was at war with France and Napoleon was the one that was leading that war. So in our world, there are dragons. Not only are there dragons, but these dragons can talk, and they have these huge personalities. And they use dragons for their air force. And it is so good. I fell in love with the dragon. Temeraire is the dragon. And his handler, and I can't remember what they're called. There's a name for them. it might be the handler. His ride, are they called riders? I don't remember, but he's a wonderful character as well. There are really great characters in here. The dragons are awesome, amazing. The descriptions are phenomenal. I can find no fault with this book. There's no like world building that needs to be done because it takes place in our world, just our world with dragons, which you wouldn't think would work, but it totally does. And again, our descriptions are so good and you can just see everything as it's happening. And I loved it so much. If you enjoy adult fantasy, I cannot recommend this enough. And to be honest, if you've ever wanted to delve into adult fantasy and haven't yet, I think this is a really good introduction to adult fantasy because there's not a whole lot that you need to wrap your brain around, and you don't get like caught up in all of the world building and things like that. It's pretty much plain and in your face. So I think you guys should read this one. It was so fun. So fun. I told Chrissy, I'm like, Chrissy, that it's so good. I loved it so much. All right. That was my July. Like I said, it was a really, really great reading month. Super excited about August. If you guys haven't watched my TBR yet, I will go ahead and link it up here because I'm super excited about August's reading. If you like what you see, don't forget to hit that like button. It really does help me out a lot. If you would like to see more from me, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you want to catch up with me other places, anywhere I can be found on the interwebs is down below in the description box. And I will catch up with you guys later. Bye!